Assalamu alaikum children, I'm your teacher Ma'am Nausheen Zuljalal, back again with the next lesson. Hope all of you are doing well, and I also hope you've done your previous homework and the practice questions that I gave in between the lesson. Now today we're going to learn about the third rule of angle, which is called the vertically opposite angles. Vertically opposite angles occur when two straight lines cross each other. In other words, they intersect each other. The point at which they intersect is called the intersecting point. So when the lines intersect, angles are formed in between the intersecting lines. Now these intersecting lines form four angles: angle 1, angle 2, angle 3 and angle 4. But instead of calling them angle 1, 2, 3 and 4 in geometry, we call them angle A, angle B, angle C and angle D. Right? Now let's look at this diagram on the left. Here you can see I've drawn angles which are opposite each other. They are the opposite sides of where the two lines cross, and we call this pair of angles vertically opposite angles. What can be slightly confusing about this though is that when you look at this diagram on the right, I have drawn another pair of angles which are opposite each other, but to the sides of the point where the lines cross this time. They are still called the vertically opposite angles. Well, it would seem natural to call them maybe horizontally opposite angles, but for some reason in maths we don't do that. We still call them the vertically opposite angles. This rule is very simple. It's just that vertically opposite angles are equal. They are exactly the same size as each other. Now, for example, we have these two lines crossing one another, right? And if we are told that the angle at the bottom is 40 degrees and we need to find the size of angle A. Now, because vertically opposite angles are equal to each other, angle A must also be equals to 40 degrees. In the same way, angle B should be equals to 110 degrees. Right? Because vertically opposite angles are exactly the same size as each other. Now let's prove it. Now, as you can see, I've made a similar diagram here and I've named them angle A, B, C and D. And suppose if angle A is 70, with the help of angle A we can find all the other unknown angles. Now, according to a vertically opposite angle rule, we know that angle A should be equals to angle C and angle B should be equals to angle D. So let's go ahead and prove it. We need the help of the first rule, which is a straight line rule, remember, which is why I told you to practice those rules first before we come up to the new rule. Now, to find out B, we need to hide C and D, so let's hide it with something like this. Yes, right. Now, as you can see, angle A and angle B are falling on a straight line. So, we can use the formula of a straight line, right? Just like this. A plus B equals to 180 degrees. Then you take away 70 from 180 and you are left with 110. Now in this lesson of angles, you must have noticed that I'm not actually focusing on how to solve the equation, because I know it is just as easy as 2 plus 2 for you, because we've been solving equations like since class 4. Class 5, class 6, we've been doing it again and again. So my aim here is to actually clear the concept of this new angle, after which solving and finding the unknown will be of no problem at all. So angle B is 110, so let's fill it up. 110 degree. Now let's find angle C. Again, angle B and C are falling on a straight line. We can use the straight line formula and find angle C. B plus a C equals to 110. Take away 110, you get a 70 here, right? So angle C is equals to 70 degree again. Now, if we find angle D, which is on the opposite side of the straight line, again they're falling on a straight line from 180. If you take away 70, you will be left with the D, right? Just like this. Right. So D is 110. Oops, degree is important. Yes. So now let's take away this. Now, just look at that. This is just so much clearer now, isn't it? I mean, there's nothing much left to say about it. Angle A is clearly equals to angle C, and angle B is equals to angle D. You can just fill in some color to visualize it a little better. All right, but remember, if you are coloring, color the pairs of the same color. All right, so you know that these two angles are equal, exactly of the same size. Now let's go on and solve a few more questions. But before we do that, let's look at these diagrams. Now here you know that there are two angles on a straight line. When you add them up, equals to 180, and if you have some more angles, it doesn't bring any change in the rule. You just have to add up a few more angles and sum them up equals to 180 degree. In the same way here, if we have 3 angles at a point or 5 angles at a point, it doesn't matter. You just need to sum them up to 360 degree, right? So now this is what I was getting to. Yes. Now this is angle A, which is equals to angle 60 because they are in between the intersecting lines. The angles are formed in between the intersecting lines, which are opposite to each other. Over here, there's an angle A here, and we've got all these angles in between the intersecting lines. These are the two main intersecting lines. Angle A is not equals to 40 or a 20. It is equal to the sum of all these angles because they are forming in between the intersecting lines. These are the two main intersecting lines, right? So A is actually equals to a 10 plus a 20 plus a 40 plus a 30, which is what? Equals to 100 degree. So A is equals to 100 degree, right? So now let's look at the next page. Here I've traced out the two main lines for you, right? This makes it even clearer. Now here there are two angles on the right hand side which is exactly opposite to the left hand side. So A plus 50 should be equals to 110, not 180 or 360. They are equal to each other, right? So this is how I've done for you. From 110 you take away 50, you are left with 60, and if you substitute and if you add it up, it is going to be equals to 110. This is how you can check your answer, right? Now here we have another diagram. Again I've crossed out, traced it out with a green color. All right, here you can see that these are the two main intersecting lines, right? So AT is actually equals to sum of all of these. So A plus 10 is equals to 80 degree, right? So this is how you're going to solve it. 2A plus 10 equals to 80. 80 take away 10, you're left with 70, and then you divide and you get a 35 degree. Means each A is 35. So 35 plus a 35 becomes 70 plus a 10, 80 degree. So they are opposite each other and they are equal to each other. Now let's come to this part. What is this? All right, I think this boy is in the same boat as you are. Now we've coming to an end to this lesson. So this is the last question that we are going to do. Now whenever you draw a diagram, you need to observe it very carefully. All right, look at it very carefully and have all those 3 rules in your mind. All right, now here I can see 2 straight lines crossing one another, and to find the value of x, I can use this straight line, right? Angle x plus 20 plus 120 equals to 180 degree. Now before I start working on it, I should observe a little closer, more carefully, and think about whether it can be solved in another way. Yes, I think it can. Now these are the 2 straight lines, right? Angle 20 and angle x are vertically opposite to 60 degree. I think this is the shortest way to find out angle x. Now we also have this line on which there is 20, x and y. But we cannot use this line because there are 2 unknown angles on the straight line, right? So we cannot use this line. So now there are 2 ways to solve x, the vertically opposite angle and the straight line angle. And this is how you're going to solve it. Now the answer is going to be the same, but I prefer this one because this is the fastest way to find out the value of x. Now let's see how can we find the value of y. Now this is a straight line which we were not able to use this straight line for angle x, right? So, but we can use it to find angle y, because 20 plus x plus y is equals to 180 degree. Now we know what x is, right? So we can find out y by substituting. You add up these 2, get a 60, take away from 180, and you get 120, right? So y is equals to 120. There's another way to find out y. This is a straight line. These are the 2 angles on the straight line. Again, we can find it through the rule number 1, like this. So y plus 60 equals to 180. You take away 60, you get 120. Now is there any other way? I think yes, there is. Now some children would say, ma'am, we found out x. Can we use the 360 degree rule to find out y? Why not? X plus 20 plus 120 plus 60 plus y, you get 360. And if you feel like finding out y in this way, I've done it for you. This is also another way to find out y. Yes. So I add them all up and I take away from 360, I get 120. All the way the answers are the same. And out of these 3, I think the straight line rule is the shortest way. I don't think there's any other way to find out x. I'm sorry, y. So we use this. No, wait. I can see something. Did you see what I just saw? Or did you observe it way before I did? Well, if that's the case, then very good. I can see these 2 straight lines crossing one another and y is directly equals to 120. Bingo! One line answer. Isn't that great? I mean, what more do we want? Y equals to 120 directly. Great, huh? Now, I hope you've understood the concept of vertically opposite angles. And I hope you liked the lesson and understood it well. As I said in my last video, that the best thing about this video lesson is that you can make the teacher repeat it 10 times by watching it over and over again. Alright, so after this lesson, I'm going to send you some homework. So you have to do one homework each day. Do it very carefully, draw the diagram very carefully, use the colors and get your answers. Alright? Alright, till my next video, Stay safe, stay healthy, and of course, stay at home. Okay? Love you guys. Goodbye.